Yesterday, the president held a Cinco de Mayo reception in the White House Rose Garden, celebrating the contributions of Hispanic Americans, touting the close relationship between Mexico and the U.S. And the president also pandered to the Hispanic vote once again by promising that he wants to sign a DREAM Act into law. He said that he, quote, has his pens already. But how much longer can the estimated 1 million dreamers out there looking for a path for citizenship wait? Republican Senator Marco Rubio is pushing for his own version of the DREAM Act, and for those whose families or friends are being deported now, it's actually not looking so bad. So how is this fight going to carry out into the general election? Joining me to discuss it is Axel Caballero, founder and producer of Cuéntame, a brave new foundation project. Axel, thanks so much for joining us again tonight. And for starters, I mean, what's your take on this speech that the president gave in the Rose Garden? It's his opportunity to talk about immigration reform again, the DREAM Act again, say that these are top priorities of his administration. But do people buy it still?
Well, I think that there is an interesting dilemma happening right now. There are a portion of Latinos, particularly young Latinos and young immigrants, who still believe that there can be done, that something can be done by this president, that something can be done by this administration, that it can be pushed forward. Now, another segment believes that they have been let down, that there hasn't been enough push, that the last round, particularly with the DREAM Act, was a failed or missed opportunity, and that more should have been done to really rally the votes around it, and we got closer than ever before. So I think that, you know, right now, as elections are happening again, the rhetoric starts on both camps, and that's what we're seeing. Suddenly, the DREAM Act is back, you know, as a main campaign issue, and that's why we have a potential Vice President nominee, Marco Rubio, as well as the president, talking about this most crucial and most elemental issue right now.
Well, so tell me about Marco Rubio's version of the DREAM Act. So far, the Obama administration and his advisors have all come out calling it half-cooked, I believe was the term. You know, they don't like it, and they're trying to tell people that it definitely doesn't do enough.
Well, there's two main problems. The first one is that it's still very vague, so we can't really dive into what this actually is without a concrete proposal. It is a stump speech per se. It is some say that is just, you know, political pandering again, and that is just an issue that he's trying to smooth or soothe or burnish his Latino credentials. That is Senator Marco Rubio. That's the first issue, that until we have a concrete proposal, we need to kind of step back and see first what is it that this DREAM Act. Now, the second part, at least from what we've heard, it doesn't seem too much of a dream. It seems more as a nightmare act. Why? Because it, you know, while it does offer some immediate relief, it does not create a really strong and comprehensive approach to a much needed issue and solution. We have close to 1.2 million dreamers in this country. They require the utmost attention and offering that they need to have a particular legal status in this country. What this proposal does is not a legal status, it's like a limbo. It creates some other universe, some other sphere where these group of individuals will live. And if there is an acknowledgement that something needs to be done, as mentioned by Senator Marco Rubio, why did the DREAM Act didn't pass before? Why is this proposal being confronted now during an electoral season?
That's a very good point, right? And at the same time, you have Mitt Romney, who's, I guess you could say, the presumptive GOP nominee for president, who says that self-deportation is a great policy and they should go with that. And you have John Boehner, who's already said that he finds it very difficult to think that Rubio's plan would even have any chance of passing before the election hits. So it does seem kind of like a dream, I guess you could say. But have you actually spoken to anybody that's warming at least to this idea of Marco Rubio's DREAM Act because they think that maybe there's some action that might happen sooner? You know, Jefferson Morley, who's a guest here on my show, often he wrote about this in Salon, and he spoke with some people that pointed to the fact that they have friends, they have family members that have been deported. The Obama administration has been deporting 400,000 people a year, and so for them, they feel like Marco Rubio is being more authentic.
Well, that's essentially one of the issues, right? It seems to give some false expectations and false hopes. It seems more of the same, more rhetoric. It is not that long ago, in fact, it's a year and a half ago or 2 years, when he declared that he absolutely would not support any DREAM Act legislation. Candidate Romney has said that he would not support any DREAM Act legislation. So suddenly they see the numbers, the Latino numbers, pretty dismal for the Republican ticket. And they see a need to burnish those Latino credentials. So they start talking about this potential DREAM Act. But if their own party is saying that there's absolutely no possible way that they would really warm up to the idea, if there's no real support, and if this is a half measure, like a 3/5 compromise, some have called it, then what it is pure rhetoric, and it's false hope, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for 1.2 million dreamers here who are desperate, who are in need, who are really counting on legislators to make the right decision and make the right choice. And instead, what they're getting is this half-measure approach that seems to be more of the same, more rhetoric and less action.
And let me just clear up for our viewers, too. We've spoken about this a lot before, but the dreamers that we talk about, these are young people that came here at a very, very young age with their families, that have grown up in the United States, that have gone to school here, that, in every sense of the word, are American, right? This is the place where they've been educated. This is the home that they know, but they don't have any documents. They don't have a pathway to citizenship, and so they are stuck in this horrible limbo, like you said. So I'm curious to hear what your guess is in terms of the Hispanic vote 2012, because we saw in the midterm elections in 2010 that the Hispanic population didn't really come out in that strong in numbers. Right now, if they're frustrated with everybody, are they going to come out strong? Are they just still going to say, fine, we'll deal with Obama and give him another shot, or what?
I believe they're going to come out stronger than ever before. Not only the DREAM issue, but we have the case in Arizona and the Supreme Court upcoming decision. We have consistent bashing of our immigrant communities in the airwaves. We have a whole slew of issues that is not isolated only to two-party candidates, but it is really a measure of the power that the Latino community has here. And I believe that these issues, along with obviously the current economic climate, is really going to push Latinos to really have a hard look and really study the proposals. Now, who they're going to go for, there's polls out there that kind of already tell that story. But I think it's not going to be a personality contest for the Latino community. It's going to be an issue-driven contest, and things like this, like the Nightmare Act that Senator Rubio is proposing, are not helping the situation because they confuse the electorate. He's only trying to burnish credentials, and that is essentially what's going to be the problem throughout the campaign. Latinos will get organized, Latinos will get educated, and they will go out and vote.
All right, Axel, well, thanks for filling us in tonight, and I'm sure we'll be catching up a lot before November. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me on.